brace, see if you can discern the difference, but also keep your ears peeled and see if you can sort of discern what is it under the hood, that big long hood. Rumble, rumble, rumble. We don't know it's going to be a Toyota, is it going to be a GR, is it going to be a Lexus, but with
Woods and Southern California, and I know he wants to put smiles on faces, but this thing is a weapon. You know, the Hilux Toyota iconic, again, another of that GR stable, the Red Bull
people get up close and they look at the technology involved in the suspension movement, the travel and everything, and then just the sheer height. And this is what it's about. It's actually called them the unimaginative. There you go. The ballast.
Well, this is Ben Birchall and Paddy Rosny. So Ben, four-time world champion. He's got 14 TT wins, and he really is going for it here. He's on an LCR Honda, the CBR 600. The Formula 2 bikes, and as you can see, he is really flying up the hill. And you can't believe how physical it is. Balance going, and it's a really impressive thing. Now, here we go. We've had this balcony moment yesterday. World Superbike champion, Carl Fogarty. Brilliant to see Carl here. Really emotional on the balcony yesterday, and what a career this man had. He had just, he did so much for the sport. And it's brilliant. He's on his 1994 Ducati. He won the World Championship on this motorcycle. Beautiful, the Ducati 916. And, he really helped build the Ducati legacy. He had 59 World Superbike wins, 109 podiums, 21 poles, 48 fastest laps, and of course those 4 amazing World Championships.
It was phenomenal, but the weird thing for me is just how many years have passed since that day. It just still seems almost so the paint's wet on the bike still, but maybe I'm starting to lose it a bit.
Yeah, and you listen to that lovely V-twin rumble that only these Ducatis have, and there's just a really wonderful selection of them here this weekend as Carl gives it some coming up the hill. And now we've got the Kawasaki, the ZX-10R. Again, this is another sort of world superbike. They won the world champ, dominated through the 2013. Tom Sykes won it, then 2015, 16, 17. This is one of Tom Sykes' bikes. This is a 2010 version. It is like the inline 4, 1000cc, giving about 205, 210 brake horsepower then, and obviously Sykes really did so much of the legwork, so much of the groundwork in getting this bike to then just dominate for nearly a decade in World Superbikes. It really did a great job.
Yeah, no, I love that crisp Kawasaki green. I love a livery, but if it can last through the ages, and then you just sometimes it suits better, some cars it suits better, but I love the history. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, here we championship, and this is a 2011 Farblade, and lovely to see it here. Obviously, it was a great TT. They had on this exact bike in 2011. John McGuinness ran it. He ran again, sort of an inline 1000cc 4-cylinder. And the Hondas have been the bike to beat. Now we've got Sam Sunderland. Now this is he's on the Red Bull Triumph 1200 Rally Explorer, and this man, I mean, you're thinking, well, how come he's riding that? Well, I tell you how come he's riding that. The 2-time Dakar champion is going to do the fastest, go for the record, to do the fastest ever circumnavigation of the world on a motorbike, and that requires him to go more than 1,000 miles a day for 19 days. He crosses 5 continents, 13 time zones, 15 countries, and he is going to have to use all his skill to do that.
When does it start? When he gets to the top of the hill tomorrow, he'll just keep on going, and he'll head a bit to the right, go east, cross the channel. But wow, what a trip, and I'm really going to enjoy following that on social media.
It starts in September. You watch it all on Red Bull TV and follow him and get behind the Brit. This is an amazing thing he's doing. Now we're going back in time a little bit to the earliest, the version, the bike in many ways that started the big adventure thing. And this is the 1985 Paris-Dakar winner, and the GS, it became from this. We saw it, we've seen a bit of this over the weekend. It looks wonderful in that 1980s Marlboro colour scheme, beautifully restored, and you can see it popping the wheelie. It's got that absolutely just the iconic BMW Boxer engine that they're synonymous with, and they dominated. They were the team to beat in Paris-Dakar. This guy has got some real skills as well, and it's great to see him. And Honda, who hadn't won it for about 30 years, they won it with Ricky in 2020, and then they've won it 3 times in these last few years. They've really got it right. This what started off as a motocross bike, the CR 450, an enduro bike. Yeah, they changed it. It's got this huge fuel tank. Obviously, the aerodynamics. It's got.
My backwards was saying that.
Yeah, well, this is this is great. This is Carlos Checa. Great to see Carlos Checa. He was the 2011 World Superbike champion, the first champion in World Superbikes from Spain, and he's riding a 2010 Ducati 1198 RS, giving it some nice wheelies. M1000 RR. This is his own team. He's running alongside Peter Hickman in the British Superbike Championship and in the races in Ireland. They finished yesterday. He was winning out there on it, and they've got about 60 kilos of downforce going through that front end at high speed. And then we go back in time to 1995, and this is the Rotary Norton that Ian Simpson won the British Championship on, and dominated that year. Took 14 wins, finished first and third in the championship, and that was the best and last kind of event to the one and only John McGuinness. And John, what a legend he is. I know that's a word used a lot, but in his case, John's had the most magnificent career. And this bike is a very special bike. This is a 2022 Honda Farblade that Honda themselves gave to John in recognition of his 100th TT start, and the fact that John has won so many races. He's won 23 TT races, and he's won 12 TT races on different iterations of the Honda Farblade. And if anyone's seen a TT before, you'll know what that means.
Numbers are just so gargantuan. I really struggled to get my head around. But then you talk to John. For
the next 4 or 5 years, Carl became a team manager. It was a team that I wrote for myself for 2 years in the World Championship, and these were the results. The Foggy Patronus, as they're known, they're a triple reverse cylinder triple, so they've got that quite unique sort of sound. They raced in World Superbikes and motorcycles out there. This is the road-going version, one of the 150 that was homologated, all hand-built. It was a homologation special. It was a bike that I remember. Yeah, because actually this was one of the, so they were race bikes, but to get it into the World Championship, you had to build 150 road-going ones.
Oh, they built them.
Right, yeah, exactly that. So that's what that was to do with. And now we're going for one inspired, the most beautiful carbon bodywork, exaggerated extra winglets, different aerodynamics. A full World Superbike engine in it, so it's pushing on 240 brake. Gardner sort of made his career on. He won the 1981 Suzuka 8-hour on this bike. He was 4th in Daytona. It was, you see it now and you kind of look at it and you're like, wow, that and Gardner, the AMA bike, and then this Morawaki monster. Like I say, the Suzuka 8-hour with a lovely speed. You see how much they've evolved over the years.
Now, longer distance bike
cycles. I've done the 24-hour myself. It's physical.
You're looking good on it. You've recovered.
It's a proper slog. It's a great to see. Now, this is going back to the early bikes. This was the bike that Foggy got his first wins on as a privateer, and it really just at this stage, Ducati were just getting their name back into superbikes, and this is really the Ducati that started that. And the Ducati factory went, oh, this guy looks pretty handy, and signed him up. So it was, this is, like I say, it's a bike that you could also, Ducati have always been very good at being able to buy, if you've got the money to buy a really TC. It is that Ducati V-twin, and this was when Troy Bayliss really started coming on the scene. Obviously, Carl had retired from Ducati, so Troy Bayliss absolutely outrageous monowheel. I know it's one of your favorites.
It truly is. It's just something unique. I like the quirkiness. I don't know if you can only hear my voice, but you haven't seen me for those that are just listening. And I like quirky, man. That's where I live. I like unique cars. I love wagons. I love estates, and I love funky machines. This is just something like, again, straight out of South Park, like I said, and this is something quite unique. And what's crazy to me is they're trying to hit triple digits in this thing.
That's right.
It only goes halfway up the hill, hitting 89 miles per hour. I've listened to you guys well enough.
I'm impressed.
And it's trying to go for triple digits in a straight line. I sure do hope so. We need more of a sidewall. Maybe get a different tire. I don't know, but regardless, I'm here for it. Where's the popcorn?
Well, exactly. I look at it and I think how, and then moments later I think why, and then I think how
Why
fast?
not?
Why not? Exactly.
Yeah, why
Going that
not?
route.
Yeah, and you can see just how small that little contact patch is on the tyre. And you know, as we just mentioned there, 89 mile an hour is their record so far. They keep sort of changing it, keep improving it. And cornering, as you see, you just want a little bit of support, a little bit of help. Fancy it, Bruce?
Not as such.
Well, I think
the trail bike.
I think there's a height limit. You're too tall to ride.
Yeah, thank
You're
you.
too tall to ride. You might get a haircut. I mean, look at that wig right there.
That's
I mean,
right.
It's not a wig. It's just a figure of speech. But I think you might get a haircut if you don't have a helmet on.
That'll be all right then.
But it's obviously got hardly any friction here, so it's got a little 40 brake horsepower sort of electric engine, and you know, to get it up to that speed sort of already, this is where they sort of come in and come off the track. But really a very inventive, very unusual thing, and wonderful to see.
And I feel like if you
Our hats, which we're not wearing, have been doffed to you. Gareth's very hat, and of course.
cover my big wig as well.
So something different, something that really makes you think, how does it work? And you know, the beauty of the Festival of Speed. Danny Sullivan, actually, his early days in racing, he came over to race in the UK. The Kentucky Kid was the nickname. Raced in Formula One, won a non-championship race for Tyrrell at Brands Hatch. But his biggest win, of course, a 360 rotation at about 180 miles an hour, maybe closer to 200 here this weekend.
Speaking of All-American, the only thing American about this vehicle is under the hood. It's got an LS with a single turbo. This is Baggy, Steve Baggioni. He is a Brit driving a JDM car with an American heart. The pounding of the LS motor, 7-liter, single turbo. This is a smoke machine, but there's no magic here. Only a speed reliever as he runs through the gears. Here in front of the wheel. Let's throw a little bit of dirt up there in the face, just like we did earlier this weekend. The GRO looks like looks like statues out in front. They had their tuxedos on, and we gave them a little bit of a souvenir, but it's a little dirt and a rock chip. You know, it's an honor. It's like people getting covered in dust by the rally stage. You come here to be part of the show. Absolutely, it's like the splash zone. You know, you go to SeaWorld, Shamu, boom, you get a little
Dust by the bag.
Absolutely. Hey, easy, it's a family show. All right, so here we go, talking about axle turbo there and that rotary powered Volvo. Yeah, that's right. I said rotary powered Volvo estate wagon. Like I said, I like funky. So why not throw a Wankel under the hood of a grocery getter? He's on the left-hand side. The Sunoco vehicle runs up the hill, a little bit of IKEA Swedish meatball, a little bit of rotary, axle turbo. There you have it. I just looked at a video he had on his Instagram. It has 1.8 million views on a video where he's emulating a I don't know if you've seen the video of the Southeast Asian boy on the rowboat doing a little dance. Well, he's doing it on the roof of that vehicle. So take a look at axle.turbo. Speaking of turbo, this 3S GTE Toyota Stout, Ryan Turk absolutely blew you guys away, and blew away the fans. Unforgiving on the pedal, on the go fast pedal, on the right-hand side. What do you got?
I'm going to breathe heavily now. I'm going to get the air into my lungs because I'm going to be holding my breath when he approaches.
Comes in, and look, we pan over to the Ford Mustang. What happens TBD here at Goodwood? But James the Machine Dean, multiple champion in the stage performance with multiple Grid Master champion. He is the champion in Saudi Arabia, unhesitated, probably the best. Come on, you know, the mouth guard goes in and it is all go, no-show. We're seeing the Ioniq 6. Now this is a development of a vehicle from the Hyundai camp. Now this gentleman drifts in Korea, drifts in Asia. This vehicle has been in development for quite some time, so really excited to see how this progresses from a drift standpoint. It says drift spec. This is a one-off, very unique vehicle. It's underneath, not dazzle camo, but underneath the shroud up until Thursday on its first demonstration here on the hill.
It looks like a stealth car, but there's nothing stealthy about it. I've spotted it coming.
And you can hear it, but only the squeal of the tires, because it sounds a little bit of a little control-alt-delete, it being EV. You hear just the squeal of the tires, and not only were they not tuning it, but they're tuning the audio of it, because as you say, it's a tactile experience, the emotion of as he partakes in the Goodwood Revival show as well. But very cool vehicle, this Team Ikuzawa.
It really is, and I love the connection. Tetsuo Ikuzawa, father of Team Ikuzawa, raced over here as a Japanese racer in the late 60s, early 70s. He was a pioneer in so many ways. And listening to his daughter describe the painting of this on the balcony, but this time it's Riccardo Patrese, Nigel Mansell's teammate in that outstanding season of 1992. The battling and remarkably simple aerodynamics, but you know, sometimes someone gets it in the sweet spot, and don't forget, Patrick Head masterminded all of this, and Frank Williams.
Again, you know, it was one of those drivers who just gave everything. You know, people got behind him, and as you say, it was just a there's lots of those over the years, I get that, but you know, it just has this moment, and certainly if you're
here, Foggy yesterday,
yes,
the love that comes up. I mean, you know, sometimes when you lose your mojo, when you're not competing anymore, doing what you're good at, you know, my career as a concert pianist, but come the winter, we move on to spring, we go racing again, we go rallying again, and for fans of rallying, this is special. 30 years on from Colin McRae, landing that World Rally title, like Nigel Mansell, promoting Formula One around the world, but particularly in the UK. This man, this Flying Scot, he did it all.
He did, and it's we just have so many of his cars here, and just the cars that are just synonymous with him, with rallying, with whatever country you're from, whether it be the gold wheels or the sticker kit, you know, just and it launched that real arms race here between manufacturers as well, which was
yeah. And what gets lost is the fact until Subaru started doing the rally, these were utilitarian cars found on farms, and then you know, I can't think of a marque or a manufacturer that suddenly had a transformation like they did, and it's carried on to this day.
Yeah, Subaru has just such a, even in the States now, has a ravenous fan base. You know, you look at something like Project Midnight with Scott Speed, you know, putting the arches on it, just really putting the steroids at it, on the vehicle, right? And again, the blue, the floral yellow, as you say, the livery, but the capabilities of the vehicle back in the day, from the RS in the States, to speak on behalf of North America, you know, and then seeing the WRX, even in wagon format, an OPWX wagon. Capable. That Boxer engine had a signature note as well.
Oh, does it ever? And you still hear it ring out now on summer evenings or very early in the morning when people are going out, when the roads are clear and getting a bit of progress. Right, of course, Colin also competed for other manufacturers, including the Blue Oval, and for Ford, he was in there pitching. Rallying is never in a state of stasis. It's always in a time of flux, whether it's a new technology coming in, new drivers coming in, but just Colin kept on. He was in, he would drive in at, you know, when people say 11 tenths, no, it was 10 tenths, and a cool touring car time, and I've just looked at the helmet on board. One of your men, 250 and 350cc champion, hit the ground running in single-seaters, had an accident at Brands Hatch, really didn't do.
They've become exceptionally collectible, and boy could he drive, and boy could he ride. Yeah, he was fantastic on the two strokes back then.
And actually, when he was racing 250 and 350, he was one of the really young ones. It was before the time of, you know, teenagers have done it all by 20.
No, that's right. He was.
The gyroscopic, the brilliant balance that all top sports people have. Right, in terms of sound, this one still does it for me. Just listen to that rumble, but it was huge. Disaster at Le Mans in 1955 when the Silver Arrows were going for success. They withdrew immediately, but the junior team as well. Young Carl Wendlinger, Michael Schumacher also in the team, but Carl is driving the car over the course of this weekend. To me, it's the rumble. I love when a top mark comes back and hits the top as they did at Le Mans. Of course, it was a time of...
was serendipity.
I can't spell it, but I know what you mean. Right, now, of course, it wasn't just Subarus in rallying. It was good and the bad, and it was Mitsubishi who took them on. And Mitsubishi drove Subaru on, and Subaru drove Mitsubishi on. If you only got the Evo 4, I've got the Evo 6. That was the sort of conversation that went on around the world. And with Tommy Mäkinen doing the winning for Mitsubishi, it was a real gloves-off battle.
And you got to think Mitsubishi also did a lot of Dakar efforts as well. You know, I mean, Mitsubishi was a powerhouse at that time, you know, and seeing them kind of make their efforts and, you know, I mean, shoot.
Either Subaru man or Mitsubishi man when it came to your rally racks.
A lot of my friends when I was growing up, they were either an Alfa Romeo man or a Lancia man. In sports cars, but Lancia really came good with the car. There was the least sleek car, I think, and of course at this point he's not got trees too much around him, but the rally stages up through the forest, so the Kielder Forest, you think about those, and the Thousand Lakes rally cars. You know, the concentration always enormous, but you know what? The one who concentrated probably more than anyone else, looked so he concentrated less, Colin McRae, taking the umps sideways, not being square on, landing a supernatural skill, and that's why it's so brilliant. It's a disaster he's not around with us, but for rally fans, to celebrate Colin's career, 30 years on from that world title, it really is very special. Of course, one of the cars on the rally stage at the top of the Goodwood Estates, and if you've never been up there, you really should. If you don't been to each year, they get better and better. They seem to have this incredible intent that transfers almost directly across into their road car range. I'm talking so much more technology that's in their road car range than we realise as yet. More to be discussed later, but this is a marque that's really made its name with its sort of powder blue livery and the flashes, and they spread the message. What do you want to do? You want to impress everywhere? Go to Pikes Peak. You're doing more than just sticking a big wing on the car. But the Arctic 5N Pikes Peak, made for purpose, up to over 14,000 feet, and where the air. Now Alain Prost back in his McLaren MP44, designed to win. Win it did. 16 races, 15 wins. Only one blot on the copybook, but the greatest intra-team battle. Prost versus Senna. Team boss Ron Dennis stood back and he didn't interrupt their racing. He said, go at it, and go at it they did. But this car, absolutely exquisite, and it's just brilliant to see Alain Prost reunited. As with so many of these cars, when did you last drive it? When I last got out of it, which was when I finished the championship. But this was a car that was just totally exquisite. And with the Professor, who never looked fast, but the record told you he absolutely was. The Professor. Brilliant to have him here with this array of 7 world champions up on the balcony earlier. This championship and their first Constructors' Championship. So for Frank Williams, who struggled for years to make his mark, you know, so many attempts, and he wasn't really taken enormously seriously. But as soon as he teamed up with Patrick Head doing the design, he was being streamlined. It was very popular. They had huge sponsorship deals. And if it hadn't been for those, that team wouldn't have continued. And then when Alan took the FW07 to the world title, you know, I am serious. And from there on, of course, he absolutely was. I mean, he wasn't always serious, but always made people laugh. Not Johnny Herbert. But he had that natural speed from the moment he got into a car, didn't have family money, he was so brilliant he got promoted. He is now promoting Bechtel Scheimer has reinvigorated the company. This is their first year competing in Formula E. Johnny Herbert hadn't driven this car till Thursday. He just loves the starts. He stops, he starts. If it hadn't been for the foot injuries, he arrived in Formula 1 sporting after his huge shunt in Formula 3000. 24 hours, how fragile is your car? Will it get to the end? By the time we got into the 21st century, the cars were becoming much more bulletproof, and this was about 25 years, a quarter of a century. The LMP car still looks crisp. But that was that first win at Le Mans, and many more followed. That was Dindo Capello, or Rinaldo, his mother liked to call him. Now, another make here. We talked to Jota earlier, linked it with that Porsche Carrera, the 904, and they not only ran a privateer Porsche team last year in the World Endurance Championship, but now they're running a works team. It's an incredible accolade for the team that started life running a Honda Preview in production car racing. And for Sam Hickman, David. This year, a 17 happier faces. Pole position for the Le Mans 24 Hours. I saw some sad faces at the start of the year when they were running V-Series R at the festival early this year, and they weren't hanging around. They were trying to get that mythical lap record. This was in testing set by Nelson Piquet in one of the Brabhams we've seen here this weekend. Porsches, they stand the test of time. The 911 has been competing at the top level for some 60 years. A lot of them the popularity that have been dusted down and brought out on the track, but the GT3R is the model that really is such a global success. The Formula races as the support category to the hypercars at Le Mans in the 24 hours and many GT3 series around the world. The most recent big race was the Spa 24 hours. I'm still bearing the scars of doing the night shift on that. Yeah, looking at that one, competes with Porsche the last handful of years, has been racing with the Iron Dame squad, and that's such a brilliant initiative. And in years to come, we won't need it as an initiative because it's all now, I do love a bit of noise, not just my noise, this noise. This is the V12 noise, Aston Martin noise. Always had a soft spot for Aston Martin. Of course, they laboured away until they finally got their first win at Le Mans in 1959. That was epic, but then they were making a bit of a mess with Formula One. They put the engine at the wrong end, mistake anyone could make. Anyhow, now they're back in Formula One, but now they're back in sports car racing, which to me is the spiritual home of Aston Martin. Make glorious cars for the road, but I think the sports car link is huge. And the V12 engine in that Valkyrie racer is just a treat. And they decided, you know what, I think we'll go and race in the States, sell a few cars, and they did it supremely well. They did it in Trans Am, and then they went to the GTO. This is a bit of a mythical car. It popped, it banged, it whistled, and it won events. And that sells cars. And again, the super crisp livery that you had, the Audi Sport livery with the grey, the black, the red, and the white in the background. White actually is the German national racing colour, so it's fitting. Noise and Red Bull, it's your go, Jared.
You know, I said earlier, I mistakenly said Mad Mike was going to do double duty. He texts me right now. He says, it's Patrick, mate. Patrick's going to be driving, saying Mad Mike's going to put an exclamation point on the day. Also, I believe it was Tom Christensen driving the rally car. You got to love that. You know, we had the e-tron earlier. So, yeah, this is Patrick driving behind the wheel of the 87. He is in the NASCAR. This is All-American. They just had their street race in the streets of Chicago a couple weeks ago. The first one was rain. San Diego, California. As everybody says, street racing, the progression of the Evo cars, it's really fun.
Formula One, that was 16 rounds a year, now it's up to 24. Will we get crossover?
Ooh, wow, that'd be amazing.
I hope not.
Speaking of amazing, yeah, here we go. We're taking a look at Mad Mike Woodette, Highlands 2019. This is Humble. Earlier today, he threw some liquids out on the track. Unfortunately, it was just water. It looks like he got many moons ago, a constant spokesperson and just a showman as well. We'll be partying here at the ball, at the house, and behind the house. Fireworks on the track, off the track, the TCP Magic. This vehicle, again, the signature rotary. Mike loves them. He's not exclusive to rotaries, but gosh, he loves them. Now, behind the wheel of this vehicle, this is the Extreme H. We're talking about hydrogen power. We've gone E, we've gone H. This is Amanda Sorensen. She competes in the Formula Drift Championship. She competes in the Formula Drift Pro Spec Championship. She's behind the wheel of this vehicle. I had the pleasure of talking with a gentleman last night, talking about Extreme H and the progression that they're doing, going from E to H.
Got a chance of landing a world strike, you know, travel and see the world?
Supposedly, we'll see. You know, I can't. From Las Vegas, Nevada. She's a very talented young lady and excited. She's 22, about to be 23. Really cool. Just a good personality. Excited to see what Amanda Sorensen, American.
Her first visit here?
Her first visit here. Yeah, she just was at another event. She was at Silverstone. She said, you know, so he's out here hanging out as well.
It's good to share. Anyhow, great to have her here. I love talking to people when they come to this event for the first time. You have no idea how big it is, and it's the things you don't expect to see that really jump out. You know, the mere 120 Formula One cars. Just more rally cars. Ford really spreading their competition wings, I would say back to how it was in the 1970s, where they did every single type of motorsport competition. And under Jim Farley, they have got a racer at the heart, at the top, and that is very, very good news indeed.
Yeah, you talk about the big blue oval, and talking to Jim Farley, I had the pleasure of doing an event, and he just talks about just so emphatically about getting back to motorsports. We're going to Le Mans, we're going to Dakar, we're going to drag racing, we're going drifting. All of these compliments to then contribute into what's the ROI, putting cars on roads, putting trucks in there. I mean, I don't know if you've seen Rolando Moss, that Ford EV truck that races Pikes Peak. You could practically park another car underneath the aerodynamics of that thing. That carbon fiber, it's a tunnel out back. It is so impressive. So Jim Farley at the helm, it's great for us motorsport, petrol heads, electric heads, I don't know what you call them, spark plugs. Regardless, it's pretty amazing to see what Ford as a manufacturer has done as well.
Well, it certainly is, and I think that finally off the topic with a bang, and the excitement that's just an accomplishable. The run has come to an end. We have one final batch of competition.
very noisy at the time.